The fear and panic of Iran regime, from new sanctions and terrorist designation of IRGC details Saturday 4 November 2017-0252, NCRI staff NCRI, a member of the Iranian regime parliament, announced that the new U.S. sanctions, known as Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, against the Revolutionary Guards IRGC are much more dangerous than the Security Council Resolution 2231. Ahmed Amir Abadi said the UNSC resolution only prohibits ballistic missiles designed to carry nuclear warhead, but in the act, a variety of the regime's ballistic missile activities and programs are banned, and short and medium-range missiles are also prohibited even if they are not designed to carry nuclear warhead. According to the resolution, the ban lasts for a maximum of 8 years, but according to the act, the phrase "within 8 years" has been removed in the new law and the system regime is subject to infinite extreme sanctions, he added. This member of the Iranian regime's parliamentary board cited the consequences of the law reducing the number of interconnection banks, reapplying banking sanctions on the pretext of terrorist activities of the system regime, absence of cooperation of large banks, pressure on banks and countries to deny the system to have access to oil sale money, placing the oil sector at the crossroads of either not working with the Revolutionary Guards or facing sanctions, increasing investment risk and reducing the IRGC's share in companies subject to sanctions from 50% to 25% in U.S. Treasury instructions, serious decline in foreign exchange access, possibility of a secondary sanctions of the central bank in the event of no cutoff of its cooperation with the IRGC, sanctioning mines, automotive, petrochemical, petroleum, electronics, telecommunications and computer sectors in Iran, and the banks providing service to them, on the pretext of confronting the missile program are the effects of the enforcement of law, state-run Bastab site, November 10. The state-run Afkar News website also addressed the new sanctions imposed by the United States and its difference with previous sanctions against the regime, and on November 11 wrote, "In this update, tags have been added to some of the people who were already on the list, which makes the reasons for and legal consequences of their presence different on the sanctions list. The most important tag is SDGT. When someone receives such a tag, there are different penalties from the previous rules for cooperating with him. This is the main difference of Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act with previous sanctions and an important factor in the SDGT tag. In fact, very soon a wave of people entering the new SDN begins and their offense is working with the sanctioned individuals or entities. What we see now is a car that has just started to switch on." Meanwhile, Mojtaba Zilner, head of the Iranian parliament's nuclear committee, displayed the regime's deadlock on the nuclear agreement JCPOA following the implementation of the Act or Comprehensive Regime Sanctions Law, and said, "At present, we are cooperating with the UN nuclear agency beyond the NPT in voluntarily implementing the additional protocol. Therefore, if we are to be unable to use it and the sanctions are added, we should review the cooperation with the agency and restrict access that may lead to malice. We should also reconsider the voluntary implementation of the additional protocol," state-run Mehr News Agency, November 1, 2017. On the other hand, Brigadier General Yadallah Javani, an advisor of Khamenei's representative in the IRGC, said the implementation of the law will not mean anything but firing coup de grace, and we will face heightened sanctions, and the countermeasure in this regard should be somehow ending the nuclear agreement. Javani continued, "The sanctions are imposed on the pretext of claiming that the IRGC is supporting terrorist groups, but in fact their goal is to confront the system." State-run Mishraq News, November 1, 2017. Moreover, Hossein Kanani Moghadam, a former IRGC commander, noted that the nuclear agreement JCPOA has become a leverage for putting pressure on the regime, and said the Americans are trying to create a vortex by raising the debate on human rights and intervention in the region, which could put the system in a multilateral bottleneck, and eventually this black hole would endanger our interests, so we must avoid this vortex. Afkar News, the 31st of October 2017.